Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is my very first epoxy tumbler tutorial, and I'm going to start by using the epoxy method to adhere my glitter to the mason jar. I've seen a bunch of tutorials on how to do the stainless steel double walled tumblers, but there's not a whole lot out there for the mason jars, and this is one of my favorite things to practice on because they're so inexpensive and I really love the way they look. I think they turn out super cute. So to start with, I'm going to mix up 5 milliliters of epoxy, but I'm going to only end up using about 1 to maybe 2 milliliters. But I'm just going to mix the 5 milliliters up, and I'm going to go kind of slow, but I don't really baby my epoxy like some people do. Just, you want to make sure you scrape down the sides and make sure everything is mixed together really, really well, because if you don't mix it well enough, it'll come out tacky and it won't really set up and harden. I totally forgot to mention that I'm using the asparagus jars. They're ball mason jars. You can find them in the regular canning section of any store that you're in. They're super expensive online, but they're 24 ounces asparagus jars. So like I said, I'm using the epoxy method, and I'm just going to go in on my prepped and sanded mason jar. I do this the same way as I do the tumblers. You just sand them really well, wash them off, and then spray paint them whatever color you want. I'm using white because it's just a really good universal color to use. But you want to spread on your epoxy super, super thin. I mean super thin. And if your epoxy is not spreading very well for you, you can just heat up your cup in front of a space heater or hit it with a heat gun or whatever you want to do. And it thins out that epoxy and it'll go on like butter. It's so easy. But you want to make sure you get in all the crevices around the words and everything like that, because you don't want any bare spots. This is what your glitter is going to be sticking to, so wherever there's no epoxy, there won't be any glitter whenever you're done. And I'm going to be using rose gold glitter from the Glitter Guy. This is a metallic, really fine cut glitter. I will have this glitter linked down in the description box below. But you're just going to go in over your tumbler and hit it really heavy handed. You don't want to miss any spots. You want everything to be covered really, really well. So once you cover your whole tumbler with glitter, go over it again, because I guarantee you, if you didn't hit it heavy enough, there's going to be some bare spots that you can't really see right now. But you just want to make sure that everything is covered super, super well. Here I'm just pressing the bottom of the cup into the glitter that's accumulated on my paper below. You can sprinkle it on or press it in. I do a mixture of both. You just want to, again, make sure everything is covered super, super well. Once you've glittered to your little heart's desire, you're just going to tap off of the extra. I just kind of hit the bar of the tumbler pretty rough and make sure everything, all the excess is knocked off. And then one important step that I often forget, pour your glitter back into the container it comes in, especially if you're doing ombres or more than one color. You do not want all that glitter mixed up. It's a pain in the butt. Here I'm going in with, I want to say 20 milliliters of epoxy that I had already mixed up off camera. And I'm just using a gloved finger to really press the epoxy into the glitter. You want to make sure it gets down in all the little cracks and crevices between the glitter so it can really shine through and get that really sparkle shimmery effect. But just take your time, go pretty slow, and like I said, just push it in between the glitter. once all the sides are covered and I got the bottom covered really well, I'm just going to go over that with my torch to pop any bubbles that may come up, because like I said, I really don't baby my epoxy, so some micro bubbles are bound to happen, but this torch really takes care of that. So for this first layer of epoxy, it's pretty thick. I do keep my room fairly warm, but I'm going to let this go for about 6 to 8 hours before I go in straight to my second coat. And I just wanted to show you guys what the epoxy looks like. This is not mixed well enough. It kind of looks, I don't know, marbly almost, with swirls of different colors. You want to keep mixing it until it turns crystal clear. Yes, there will be bubbles in it if you're stirring it fast like I do, but it will be crystal clear when it's ready to go on your cup. And this is what you're looking for. Like I said, there's a bunch of bubbles in it, but it's really transparent. There's no more of that marble looking with strings running through it. And then you just go right in for your second coat. I wanted to show you here, this is an alternative way that some people really like. It's not my favorite way. I prefer a gloved hand, but if you don't feel like gloving up or whatever it may be, you could just take a silicone brush and brush the epoxy all over your cup. I really do not recommend this for a first layer because it's just hard to push it in the glitter well enough, but some people love this way. I just wanted to include it just because it is an alternative method. And once I feel like my second layer is thick enough and it's covered well enough, I'm just going to go in with my torch again to pop any bubbles. And you want to let this layer go for at least 12 hours to really dry. So for my decal, I cut this on my Silhouette Cameo and just weeded it, and I'm getting it on some transfer tape now. I use my fingers. Sometimes I'll use a vinyl tool. You just want to make sure that it's adhered to the transfer tape really well. And then peel the back off of the decal. That's one of the best tips I have because it stays on the transfer paper a lot better. And I just eyeball it when I put my decal on. Sometimes if they're super precise, I will take the time to measure them out and line everything up. But I had just handwritten this one on my iPad, and it's nothing really too straight or particular. So I just eyeballed it and put it on the best I could. Once I got the decal where I wanted it, I went over it with my heat gun just to really melt that adhesive onto the glass and make sure it doesn't lift up when I put this second layer of epoxy on. I'm not going to seal it. Sometimes I do seal them, especially if I'm using some lower quality vinyl. But this is Orcal 651. It's not going anywhere. But I just wanted to make sure that it was on there good. And then I'm going to go in with my final coat of epoxy. And like I said, I prefer the gloved hand method, so that's what I'm doing here. Just getting it all over, same old, same old. Just making sure it's covered really well, pushing it in around the vinyl so none of it lifts or there's no air bubbles or anything like that. And this is how I make the lids that go on the mason jars. It's just a regular wide mouth lid with the ring. And you're going to take a grommet punch. Mine came with a whole bunch of metal grommets. I did not use those. But you just hit it really, really good and it should pop right on out. I will say, do not do this on your dining room table because you will leave marks. Lesson learned. And then you're going to take these rubber grommets. It's a 5/8 outside diameter and a 3/8 inside diameter, and it just fits right in there perfectly so that cut metal doesn't eat up your straws and stuff. And then I like to glue those together. You can use epoxy or E6000 or any food safe glue that you want, but this is what it ends up looking like. It's super cute. I love it. I use it all the time because every day I'm tired as a mother. Thank you so much for watching this. I know this was rough. It's my first tutorial. I promise I'll get better at it. I really love making tumblers, so I'll have a lot more tutorials coming, but please subscribe and like this video.